So we all know in Kingdom, time skips aren't something crazy significant like it is in One Piece. However, I believe it is during these minor lapses in time that our main characters have really grown to new heights. To make it easy, I'm gonna call these two time periods pre-unification and post-unification. As in, Sei is now definitively leading Shin with the state's mission set on unifying all of China. Something that I rarely see talked about is how the Rishin unit members have really individually changed as characters since the beginning of the story. A major reason is probably because the changes most of the Rishin unit went through are purposely subtle. While everyone appreciates good character development, not being able to actually see what they go through during these time skips would make it pretty surprising if the Rishin unit came back as drastically different characters. Though at the same time, there are clear differences in personality from the beginning of the story to now that we're breaking down today. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe for new Kingdom videos every week. To begin with, before going through the unit individually, there is one major change that can be seen in the Rishin unit as a whole, and that is a more absolute belief in their general and his dream. I'm not trying to say that the Rishin unit didn't believe in Shin from the start. They all of course believed that he would be the greatest general under the heavens. But ever since post-unification, Hara has made the Rishin unit more openly vocal about this feeling, with each of them treating it as inevitable truth, and it even comes up as casual conversation more often. In general, we've been getting more instances of the Rishin unit's unshakable faith in Shin, and it makes sense, as the entire series of events from the Battle of Bihei to the Coalition invasion essentially proved that after suffering such unimaginable losses, Shin could keep standing up time and time again and keep charging forward as Jukio said. That's on a group level. Now on an individual level, starting with Shin. His notable change post-unification is similarly a significantly greater confidence that he will be the greatest general under the heavens, and a clearer vision of what his dream actually entails. Obviously pre-unification, Shin was more than sure that he would become the greatest general under the heavens. He would regularly state that he would accomplish as such. Post-unification, that same confidence exists, but it's almost like it's been given a surge of electricity, where Shin is literally taking every opportunity he has to state that he will be the greatest general under the heavens. Though Shin was vocal about this before, I know it's hard to believe, but Shin now does not shut up about it. But it makes sense. Having overcome Hyo, Oki, and Jukio's deaths and grown stronger, so too has his already powerful will grown stronger as well. But I think Shin has also developed a slightly greater understanding of the warring states in general, and what his dream in becoming the greatest general under the heavens actually means. Whereas before, Shin had this almost giddy goal to become the greatest general under the heavens, since post-unification, he has regularly expressed the clear steps for what he actually needs to accomplish and the obstacles for him to overcome. There's a more set in stone vision in his mind of what will happen along the way to becoming the greatest general under the heavens and a general in general. But I mean, this could be a shift in character and overall maturity, or could more so be the fact that Shin now knows what feats need to be accomplished to be the greatest that he didn't know before. Next we have Kyoukai. The shift we see with Kyoukai is that she has actually adopted some of Shin's characteristics. Pre-unification, Kyoukai was quite reserved, sometimes not even saying a single word to anybody. But post-unification, it's kinda insane. At this point, Kyoukai is the one bringing the most energy during the heat of battle in multiple arcs. Pre-unification Kyoukai at the very least would drop the odd pearl here and there in terms of strategy, so that she could provide some type of communication. But literally the first thing that she does upon returning from her revenge journey is screaming while charging into a retinue of enemies, a glimpse of what's to come. It has become quite rare for Kyoukai not to be the aggressor or take point in an attack during post-unification. The only time she, for better lack of words, regresses is during Shin's duel with Hoken, being her most reserved, feeling helpless and at a loss for words. But this honestly would have shaken anybody. We have seen Kyoukai start to adopt Shin's attitude towards her opponents. Pre-unification, Kyoukai would take extra care to reserve her breath for life or death situations, but post-unification, it comes from a different place. Now her aspirations are so high up there that she has that same relentless attitude as Shin, practically fighting to her last breath and last drop of blood, so much so that she was likened to a certain member of the past Shin Six Greats, when she put it all on the line to single-handedly protect her comrades, barely being able to stand the same way Shin does and even once did against Kyoukai. Next up we have Karyo 10 and Lieutenant N. 10 and N post-unification came out swinging, showcasing a mastery of strategic ability and increased general capability, respectively, with 10 even proclaiming that at the end of the day, everything comes down to the strategist and that Shin should simply trust her and wait. fight. However, this indeed did not mark the beginnings of the heroic Karyo 10 of Shin. Both 10 and N haven't really changed all too much. They are still sweating and worrying their butts off per usual, and never fail to voice their worries like wimps. But they do have their moments of stepping up to crucial challenges when the time absolutely calls for them to perform. But it feels like that isn't too different from pre-unification. At least on the surface level, they didn't really change. Again though, this entire time we have been talking about subtle changes. None of the Rishin unit underwent Super Saiyan level transformations, but these two's approach to situations has improved. Pre-unification, it was all sweat and no pushing back. They were either written as cowards or at least afraid of battle. Or it's a moment in the arc where everyone is involved in a huge undertaking, emotions are high, and so these two will step up for the one man they love. But post-unification, looking closely, their I guess baseline of fear is higher than before. Though afraid, they're more inclined to recognize how essential it is for them to step up as key pieces of the Rishin unit, and thus are more inclined to push through. For example, during the Kokyo Hills, 10, though feeling completely lost, knows her general would never give up at this moment, and instead she chose to carve out a path no matter how impossible it felt. Probably not something that would have happened pre-unification, despite being capable. It's not a question of capability, rather a question of being willing to. In terms of bravery, post-unification 10 can handle basic challenges without letting her sweat episodes affect her too much. Similarly, N has grown to harness this fear. For instance, despite seeing himself as the most basic of the basic, if he were to encounter that river rapid pre-unification, N would be expected to run back home or decline the mission, thinking he isn't good enough. But here, N is not weak, but confidently trudges across the river rapid while speaking courage into the hearts of his comrades. It might be a small moment, but nonetheless extremely meaningful, because pre-unification, though N did have the courage to remain behind during Bihei, he often was left to the most basic task. Basically, now they only sweat when it comes to the casual issues, but when they are really needed to win, they will push forward. So though it is a small step, it is a step forward regardless, now recognizing the true capability by setting aside that fear. And then we have Bihei. He didn't change too much from pre to post unification, though if we're counting that one moment during Kokyo Hills, here Bihei showed a great level of maturity by forgiving Shin, who bodied him by the way when he had a rageful outburst. At the same time, he proved to be one of, if not the biggest supporter of Shin's dream, further demonstrating this high level of maturity and loyalty by putting his life on the line to defend Shin when the Kunki soldiers were making light of his dream. But that isn't even the most significant change. It may truly have been when he acknowledged that his brother died for Shin because he is a man worth dying for, because with that, Bihei finally realized what it meant to be in the unit. He knew why he fought so hard and was humble enough to ask Shin for forgiveness and to rejoin the unit. So I guess when I said he didn't change too much, I was talking about how he still feigns for tit. Did you enjoy this video? Check out my other videos. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated on my latest videos. I appreciate you guys.